So under phylum Chordata there are 3 subphylums. So the first one is Urochordata, and second one is Cephalochordata, and third one is Vertebrata. So now we will see about the two, which is Urochordata and Cephalochordata. So these two organisms are known as protochordates. These organisms are all are marine, and in Urochordata the notochord only present in larval tail, and in Cephalochordata the notochord extends from head to tail and persists throughout their life. Examples of Urochordata are Ascidia, Salpa and Dodiolum, and Cephalochordata are Branchiostoma, which is known as Amphioxus or Lancelet.
So what is prochordate actually?
Protochordates.
Protochordate.
Are the initial these are known as protochordates.
These two are known as protochordate. These are all completely in marine, living in marine. So notochord only in tail, Euchordata.
Only in larval tail.
Larval tail.
Urochordata.
In the adult tail, it is not. It won't be present there. Notochord. Only in larval tail it's available. But here, notochord extends from head to tail and persists throughout their life. So now that is the tail only available in larval tail. The notochord only available in larval tail. But here, entire cycle the notochord is available. So there is a difference between these two actually. But both are in marine.
So now we will see about the subphyla Vertebrata. So Vertebrata have notochord only at embryonic period. This notochord is replaced by cartilaginous or bony vertebral column in the adult.
Okay, so that will generate a bony vertebral column.
Bony or cartilaginous. So therefore all vertebrates are chordates, but all chordates are not vertebrates. And ventral in these organisms there is a ventral muscular heart composed of 2 or 3 or 4 chambers.
2 or 3 or 4. So from 2 to 4 chambers for heart.
So kidney is for excretion and osmoregulation, and there are paired appendages which can be fins or limbs. So this vertebrata is divided into 2: Agnatha, Gnathostomata.
Okay.
So under Agnatha we will discuss about Cyclostomata.
Okay.
And under Gnathostomata there are 2, it is divided into 2 again, which is Pisces and Tetrapoda. So Pisces are nothing but fishes. So under fishes there are 2 kinds, Chondrioctis and Osteoctis. Tetrapoda are those having 4 appendages. So these are amphibians, reptiles, caves and mammals. So firstly we will discuss about Cyclostomata, which comes under Agnatha.
So vertebrate phylum is a developed one.
Vertebrata subphylum is developed one. So now we are going to see Cyclostomata under Agnatha, which is a division under Vertebrata. So these Cyclostomata are all ectoparasites on fishes.
Ectoparasites.
They are on the body.
Parasites, okay, but what is ectoparasites?
Outer side of the body. If endoparasites, it is inside the body of the fishes.
Oh, it's outer side of the body. Okay.
And then these have 16 to 15 pairs of gill slits for respiration. And these cyclostomes have sucking and circular mouth without jaws. And these are devoid of scales and paired fins. So these do not have scales and fins, paired fins.
Do not have scales. Scales in the sense?
Scales are nothing but in fishes generally the scales will be like this, no?
Oh, that is. Oh, those are all called scales. Okay.
Cranium and vertebral column are cartilaginous.
Cranium and
vertebral column
or
cartilaginous.
What does it mean?
Cartilaginous means it is a tissue, cartilage tissue. So the cranium and vertebral column, it is of cartilage.
Cranium, what is cranium?
Cranium is the covering of the head.
Covering of the head, okay.
Or the covering of the brain, which is known as cranium.
Okay.
And circulation is of closed type.
This is closed side circulation. Okay.
And these are marine organisms.
So everything is
Marine,
because
but
these are fishes normally. Okay.
Marine, but these migrate for spawning to fresh water. Spawning to fresh water.
Fresh water, okay.
So after spawning, within a few days, they die. And their larvae after
What is spawning?
Spawning is that laying eggs or giving rise to new organisms.
So after laying eggs, it will die. Okay.
So their larvae after metamorphosis return to the ocean.
Their larvae after metamorphosis return to the ocean. Okay. So then where it lays the eggs? In the seas only, right?
Yes, migrate for spawning to these are marine, but migrate for spawning to fresh water.
But migrate, it goes to fresh water for laying eggs. Okay, then again it goes to ocean after larva stage. Okay, clear.
So examples of this Cyclostomata are Petromyzon, which is also known as lamprey, and Myxine, which is known as hagfish.
Hagfish, a new thing actually. Hagfish, how it will be look like?
No. It will look like with the circular jaws. So now we are going to see the next one, which is Chondrioctis. So these organisms are marine animals with a streamlined body.
It is also coming under the vertebrata. The second one.
Under Gnathostomata.
Okay.
So cartilaginous endoskeleton, these have cartilaginous endoskeleton. Endoskeleton is made up of cartilage and mouth is ventrally located.
Ventrally located. Okay.
And notochord is throughout life, persists throughout life.
So it is completely from the larva stage till the adult stage it has
notochord. And gill slits are separate, and these organisms have no operculum in them. Operculum is the covering of the gill slits.
Swim constantly to avoid?
Because of the absence of operculum, these organisms have to swim constantly to avoid sinking. So otherwise it will sink.
Keep on moving. So operculum, how it look like? What is that?
It is the covering of gill slits.
Covering of gills, okay.
So these skin, in these organisms, the skin contains minute placoid scales. And teeth is modified placoid scales which are backwardly directed.
Modified placoid scales which are
backwardly directed.
Backwardly directed, okay.
And jaws of these organisms are very powerful. And heart is two-chambered heart, one auricle and one ventricle.
Two-chambered
heart.
Okay.
And
one
auricle and one ventricle.
Okay.
So electric organs. In torpedo, it has some
electric organs actually?
I think it conducts some electric messages.
Electric messages to where? Exchanging or information kind of the thing, or nerves kind of the thing. They have given one example. Torpedo. So that torpedo has electric organs. So what is the purpose of that electric organ? In the sense all organs are electric or?
No, only one or two.
One or two organs are electric. So it has electric organs. So purpose of electric organ?
Purpose of electric organ they have not mentioned.
But usually that electric organs may be to pass the information from one place to the other place inside the body. Maybe we have nerves and all now to transfer the information from one place to the other place, like that. They are using electric organs to pass the information, might be.
And then
It has poison sting.
Some organisms have poison sting. Example, trigon.
Trigon. Trigon is a fish, huh?
Yes.
It has poison sting.
And these animals are cold-blooded animals, which are also known as poikilotherms.
Known as?
Poikilotherms.
Poikilotherms. Poikilotherms are cold-blooded animals. Okay.
So sexes are separate in these organisms. Cold-blooded animals are nothing but they can change their body temperature according to the environment.
So that's why they call as cold-blooded.
Cold-blooded
so they can change according to the
poikilotherms.
situation. Okay.
And in these organisms, the males bear in pelvic fins they bear claspers.
What is clasper?
Claspers is something to which it can attach their pelvic fins. And these organisms undergo internal fertilization.
Internal fertilization. Okay.
And these are viviparous, which directly gives birth without laying eggs.
Oh, viviparous. Viviparous directly giving birth. Like mammals.
So examples are Scoliodon, which is also known as dogfish.
Okay.
Pristis, which is also known as sawfish.
Okay.
Carcharodon, which is also known as great white shark. And trigon, which is also known as stingray.
So this poison sting, that's why they call it a stingray.
Stingray.
It has poison sting, that's why it is a stingray.
Stingray.
Okay.
So next we will see about the second one, which is Osteoctis. So now we are going to see about the third division, which is Osteoctis under Notochordata. So these are both marine and freshwater organisms.
It's available both marine and as well as freshwater. Okay.
So these have bony endoskeleton. And in these organisms, the body is streamlined.
Body is streamlined.
And mouth is terminal. Terminal at the end of the organism.
Mouth is at the end it's available, that's why terminal. Okay.
And in these organisms, 4 pairs of gills are available, covered by operculum on each side.
Okay.
So therefore, with these organisms do not need to swim constantly.
So covered by operculum on each side.
And skin is covered with cycloid or ctenoid scales.
Okay.
And then air bladder is present, therefore it regulates buoyancy. Buoyancy means it does not need to swim constantly because
buoyancy, no need to
swim constantly. So heart is 2 chambered, one ventricle and one auricle.
One auricle and one ventricle. Okay.
So these animals are cold-blooded animals, poikilotherms.
Okay.
Sexes are separate.
Okay.
Fertilization is external fertilization.
Fertilization is external. Okay.
And oviparous, these organisms are oviparous, egg-laying animals. Egg-laying
so oviparous or direct development?
Direct development.
Okay.
And examples of these organisms are in marine conditions, Exochetus, which is also known as flying fish, Hippocampus, which is also known as seahorse. And then these two are marine. And freshwater, the examples are labeo, which is also known as rohu, katla.
Oh, that we are eating regularly. Rohu,
katla.
Katla, okay.
And
these are actually the common name or what? Katla
Labeo is scientific name. Rohu
this is scientific name. Rohu is the normal
common name. And katla is scientific
katla
name.
Is scientific name. Okay.
And the common name is also katla. Katla.
Common name also katla. Okay.
And Clarias magur.
Magur.
And in aquarium, beta, which is also known as fighting fish.
Fighting fish. Okay.
And Pterophyllum.
This is flying fish and this is fighting fish. Okay.
And Pterophyllum is also known as angelfish.
So these are all aquarium. We can grow it. We can grow it in houses. Okay. Aquarium. Marine, freshwater and aquarium. Okay.
So now we are going to see about Amphibia coming under Tetrapoda. So these live in aquatic as well as terrestrial habitats. And these have 2 pairs of limbs. and body is divided into head and trunk. So tail are present in some of the organisms, and skin is moist and without scales. So eyes have eyelids, and tympanum represents its ear. Tympanum represents its ear.
Okay.
And alimentary canal, urinary and reproductive tracts open into a common chamber called cloaca.
Cloaca. So this is a common chamber.
Common chamber.
Alimentary canal.
Alimentary canal, urinary and reproductive tracts.
Okay.
So respiration is through gills, lungs and skin. All the three it uses it for respiration. And heart is three chambered, which is two auricles
so
and
now
one
it has three chambers. Previously two chambers. It has three chambers.
Two auricles and one ventricle.
Two auricles, one ventricle.
So here these animals are cold-blooded animals.
This is
Cyclostomata, and sexes are separate.
Okay.
External fertilization.
Okay.
Oviparous, indirect development.
Oviparous is nothing but what is
egg-laying animals.
Egg-laying animals. Already we have discussed. Okay.
And indirect development. So examples of amphibia are bufo, which is also known as toad, rana, which is also known as frog, hyla, tree frog,
rana,
frog, hyla, tree frog, salamandra, salamander, Ichthyophis, limbless amphibia.
Limbless amphibia. Okay.
So these are the examples. So next we will see about. So after amphibians, now we are discussing reptiles. So these organisms are generally creeping and crawling mode of locomotion. So they just creep and they just crawl. And these organisms are terrestrial animals. They live in land, and the body is dry and conified. Their body is composed of conified skin. Their body is so dry, like snakes and lizard. So their skin is conified, like if you touch the skin, it is something like there is something like thorn, something like needle-like structures are present in some organisms. And these organisms also have epidermal scales or scutes. Scales also, that conified skin is also known as is also like will be it will also be like scales or scutes. So these organisms do not have external ear opening like our human beings. So we have that external ear opening called pinna. So these organisms do not have. So therefore tympanum represents the ear. Tympanum is a small structure present in these organisms. And limbs are present as two pairs. If there is limbs present in these organisms, it will be existing in two pairs. So in the front one pair and at the back one pair. So and these in these organisms the heart is three chambered, which has two auricles and one ventricle. And only crocodiles have four chambered heart, two auricles and two ventricles. And these organisms are poikilotherms, which are cold-blooded animals. So poikilotherms are organisms which cannot regulate their body temperature. So according to environment, they will change their body temperature. If the surrounding environment is cool, it will change itself to cool conditions, and its temperature will be less. And if the environment is hot, it will change its temperature to hot degree of temperature. So it will change according to the environment. It does not have a definite temperature. And in these organisms, the snakes and lizards shed their skin as skin cast. These snakes and lizards, they remove their skin at a time of their life cycle, and the new skin will develop under the removed skin. So in these organisms, the sexes are separate. Male and female are separate. So these organisms are also known as dioecious organisms, since in these organisms the sexes are separate. And fertilization is internal fertilization, where the male and female gametes fuse inside the body of the organism. And these organisms are egg-laying, which is known as oviparous. And direct development, it develops directly from the egg. No larval stages are available in these organisms. So examples of reptiles are chelone, which is also known as turtle, testuda, it is tortoise, chameleon, tree lizard, and calotes, garden lizard, crocodilus, crocodile, alligator, common name is also alligator and scientific name is also alligator. Hemidactylus, wall lizard, it is known as wall lizard. And some snakes are poisonous snakes in Reptilia. The examples are Naja, which is also known as cobra, Bangaris, which is also known as crate, Vipera, which is also known as viper. So now we have discussed about Reptilia. So now we will discuss about aves.
Okay.
So aves are nothing but they are birds.
Okay.
So here in birds, generally we know there are many feathers in birds,
Yes.
which help them to fly, and most of them can fly. Most of the birds can fly, except flightless birds like ostrich and penguin.
Okay.
So birds like that cannot fly. So these are known as flightless birds.
Do you have any other name for flightless birds?
Flightless birds, only flightless birds they will be calling their birds.
Okay.
So these birds possess beak.
Meaning?
Beak. The mouth is possess means it has.
Okay.
It has beak. So to eat the seeds and to crunch the wood, bark of the wood and everything. So forelimbs, actually there will be forelimbs and a pair of forelimbs and a pair of hind limbs in birds. So these pair of forelimbs is modified into wings. So this one is modified into wings. Forelimbs is modified into wings to help them to fly. So beak is a modified form of mouth. So mouth is modified into beak. And hind limbs have scales. So you will be seeing that hen.
Yeah.
You have seen that hen. In that hen, the hind limbs are modified like scales, right? Like this it will be. If this is the leg, it will be like this.
Yeah.
So that is with scales. The hind limbs are with scales, and these hind limbs help them for walking, swimming, or clasping the tree branches to catch the branches and everything.
Okay.
And so in these birds the skin is dry. So in the skin there are no glands except at the tail, behind the tail, oil glands are present. Except that no glands are present.
What do the oil glands do?
It produces oil.
For what?
For in us also oil produces, right? Oily skin they will say, right? Like that in birds also oil is produced.
Okay.
And endoskeleton of the bone of the birds. Endoskeleton is nothing but inside what skeleton is made up of what. So for us it is bones. For birds also it is bones. So endoskeleton is made up of bones and are hollow with air cavities. In birds, the bones are hollow with some air cavities. So that bones are known as pneumatic bones.
Pneumatic. Okay.
So pneumatic is very important term. So that is known as bones with hollow air cavities. So these bones help the birds to fly easily because it is having air, so it is weightless. So therefore the birds can fly very easily. And digestive tract. We have digestive tract, right? Esophagus, pharynx and everything. So in birds the digestive tract also includes crop and gizzard. So crop is to store food, whatever the bird eats it will store, and gizzard is like teeth, it will crunch the food.
Okay.
So the crop is for storing food and gizzard is for crunching the food. So these two are extra in digestive tracts of birds. So in birds the heart is 4-chambered, 2 auricles and 2 ventricles. 2 auricles and 2 ventricles. And these birds are homeotherms. So homeotherms are warm-blooded animals. Poikilotherms are cold-blooded animals. So what is the difference between warm-blooded and cold-blooded? Have you heard anywhere?
Yeah.
What is the meaning of that one?
Warm-blooded, the blood will be warm.
No, the blood will not be warm. The blood will in homeotherms, warm-blooded animals. In homeotherms, the organisms of homeotherms are called as warm-blooded animals. So why they're called like that means they can regulate their temperature. If it is very hot, they can regulate their body temperature into medium temperature, and even if it is very cold, the medium temperature will be maintained, like mammals. So we can maintain our temperature. But in cold-blooded animals, poikilotherms, they cannot maintain the temperature. They will adapt to the surrounding temperature. If it is very warm, their temperature will become so hot, and if it is very cold, their temperature will become the temperature of that cold. So homeotherms means they can maintain their temperature, constant temperature they will maintain. So that is what is homeotherms.
What is cold-blooded animals?
Poikilotherms. So respiration is through lungs. In these birds, respiration is through lungs, and sexes are separate. Male and female are separate organisms in birds. So fertilization takes. So in these organisms, fertilization is internal. What is internal fertilization? So internal fertilization is nothing but the male and female gametes fuse together inside the body of the organism. So this is it is fertilizing internally. So this fertilization is known as internal fertilization. So fertilization is internal. And oviparous. So these organisms are oviparous. Oviparous are nothing but egg-laying animals.
Okay.
So these organisms can lay egg.
And what is for without eggs?
That is viviparous. So they will be produced directly from the mother, directly from the organism. So that is viviparous. So this is oviparous. Oviparous are egg-laying animals. So these birds are generally egg-laying, and these have direct development. Direct development means from the egg directly the chick will be formed. Directly the small individual will be formed. In indirect development, without the in indirect development, there will be many larval stages, or there will be many molting like that.
Okay, like butterfly.
Yes. So that is indirect development. So here it is direct development. It will be directly developed. And this is generally about birds. So most of the points we know already. So and here what are the important points to remember is pneumatic, crop and gizzard, heart is 4-chambered, homeotherms, and oviparous. These all we know generally, and oil glands present mainly in the tail, and so that's all. So here these are the important points, and examples of birds are so if we are here, we are going to see both scientific and common names. So the names inside the bracket are common and outside the bracket are scientific. So Corvus is a scientific name of crow, Columbia is pigeon, Sitacula is parrot, Struthio ostrich, Pavo peacock, Aptenotides which is penguin, Neophron vulture. So these are the examples. So now we have seen about birds. So next we will see about mammals.